Wow, look at this beautiful purple tulip. It has a lot of colors, and this one is red and yellow. Today we're going to create tulips using red, pink, purple, orange, yellow, and green. Hi everyone, it's Miss Rebecca. Today you'll need a white piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, a watercolor set, and some markers if you have them. Let's get started. Starting in the middle of your paper, draw a U shape. So the letter U, kind of big in the center of your paper. Just like the letter U. This one's right in the middle of your paper. The next one we're going to do on the top left side, and it's again the same letter U, but this time it's tilted. See that? Now we're going to do this again on the top right side of your paper, the letter U, and the same size. Could be a little smaller, larger. It doesn't have to be perfect. But notice that it's tilted. And now we're going to do this bottom section, the letter U, and it's tilted a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing on this side to fill up the corner here with the letter U. It's just a curve. Now, starting on the top left side of your U, draw a diagonal. The diagonal comes down to the bottom of your U. So we're going to do all that the same time on each tulip. So start at the top left and make your slanted diagonal line going from the top left of the U to the bottom of the U. Just cutting across there. Then we're going to go on the other side of the U and draw a diagonal that meets the diagonal we just drew. So the slanted line touches the other slanted line, meets right in the middle there. Okay, so now we have two petals, and the last petal is a V, like a upside down letter V, or just like an arrow pointing upwards. That's right in the middle. Just draw your two diagonal lines to a point right in the middle of all of your tulips, and there you have it. Now we have our tulip buds. Next we're drawing the stem. The stem is created with just two parallel lines that are right next to each other, going all the way to the bottom of your paper. Now, the one in the middle can be straight down, and the ones on the sides will tilt in the direction of the tulip bud. So whatever direction your tulip is going, that's the direction that your stem will be going. Let the stem go right off the paper like this, so that it just goes right off to the edge of your paper, and the ones on the bottom go all the way down to the bottom of your paper. And it could have a little curve to the stem, or it could be straight. It's up to you, okay? Now we're going to draw the leaves. Let's start with a curve that cuts off the bottom right side of your paper. So just make two curves, like a little rainbow shape here, that cuts off the corner of the bottom of the paper, and we're going to do that on both sides. So two curves there. Now we're going to draw, starting from that center stem, a long curve for another long curving leaf. So tulips have these long, skinny, pointed leaves, and we're going to curve that all the way over the stem there, so it overlaps. See how I'm just going right over there, and I'm making sure to skip over the tulip bud because the leaf is in the back, and come all the way down. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So you're going to start at the bottom of the stem here and make a long curve. The curve goes all the way up, and it's going to hop over that stem because it's overlapping, and then it's going to come back down. It's going to hop over that tulip bud, and then it's going to come back down because it's overlapping. So it shows that the leaf is behind the tulip buds. This stem is right here, is in front of the leaf. So now we're going to add some more leaves, and it's the same idea. Start at the base of the stem and make a long curve. This one's going to be curving across here because I have space here. So if you have some space, draw another leaf like this. It's just a curve that comes to a point, and it could crisscross, like it crisscrossed across that leaf. Just erase like that to make it look like they're overlapping. I'm going to do that again here because I have some space. Start at the stem, draw a curve, it comes to a point, and then it curves back down, and see the overlap right there? Then we erase that. We're going to erase it right in there so it looks like one leaf is crisscrossing in front of the other leaf. Give it a try. See if you can do that. Now, if you want, you could add more leaves. It's as many as you want. I might add 2 more here at the bottom just to give it these little curly leaves at the bottom here. And I'm going to erase a little bit the overlap if it's overlapping. Okay. You decide where you want to put any more leaves. And make sure you erase where you need to erase. If there's any parts that are overlapping or crisscrossing one thing in front of the other. And you should be thinking about any of these blank spaces if you want any more leaves. And if you like it, you're done. Let's move on. So now I'm going to lay this paper flat on a surface, and I'm going to take some masking tape and I'm going to tape around the edges. And when you do that, you'll be left with a really nice white border at the end, which I really like. So it could be about a 1/2 inch, doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be as straight as possible. So line it up and then lay it flat so that the whole thing is taped down to your surface. Now, starting with your marker, I'm going to outline all of the leaves and all of the stems, and I'm going to start outlining from the top left, and I'm going to go from top to bottom, left to right. That way I'm not smudging the marker with my hand as I go along. So my hand stays off the marker that I just put down, and that way it's not smearing or bleeding all over the place. So you see how I'm going from left to right and top to bottom. So just carefully outline all of those stems and all of those curved leaf shapes that we did. And that's going to make it easier when it comes time to paint. Now, all the tulip buds, we're going to focus on red, orange, yellow, pink, and purple. So those are the colors that I'm going to use. I'm going to start from top left with the red. So I'm going to outline that whole bud with red. And then I'm going to do this one right below it with orange. And I'm going to outline the whole tulip bud with orange. The middle one, I'm going to make yellow. And the top right one, I'm going to make pink. And this bottom one here, I'm going to finish it with purple. This outline will make it easier when it comes to painting. So get your watercolors, and we're going to start with the background first. And we're going to make the background completely blue. So put a lot of water inside of the blue of your watercolor set, and then very carefully paint in all of the negative space, which is all of the white space around your tulip buds and around the stems and around the leaves. So that's all your blank white space, and that is the negative space, or the background in this case. So I'm just putting a lot of water, and I'm very carefully painting around all those tulip buds and all the stems and all the leaves that we just drew and outlined. And if you make a mistake, just wipe it with your finger like I did there. It's okay. Now what you're going to notice is that the marker naturally will blend with the water if the water touches it, which is kind of cool. But we put that outline on there so that we know where to stop, because we don't want to paint the blue over our tulips or over the stem and over the leaves. We want to be careful to just paint the background. Just take your time. Just do the best you can. Almost there. Now, if you wanted to do this background color black or a different color, feel free to do that. It's up to you. All right, now let that background dry before you do this. So now it's completely dry, and I'm going to take this yellow now, a yellow marker, and I'm coloring in the tips or the top of the tulip buds. You notice that? So I'm just filling in yellow with the top of each tulip bud, except I'm not gonna do the purple one. I'm gonna leave the purple one alone. Okay, now my paper is dry, the background is dry to do this. Now I'm taking orange, and I'm gonna take the orange and just color the next little section with the orange. And notice I'm making these little dash lines that dash right into the yellow part. It's kind of like a blending technique you can do with your marker. There, see? I'm just making a little band of orange, just like that, and then making little lines that dash up into the yellow. So we're gonna do that on all of them except for the purple one. So I'm just filling in with the orange here. There we have it. Okay, now change to your red, and the remaining space on this one is going to be all red, and notice that I am filling it in with the red and then doing these little tiny lines right into the orange. So it looks like it blends. Now we're going to do the same thing except change to pink. So this one is the pink one, and I'm filling in with the pink all of that area, and then just lightly making these little tiny lines into the orange. Now for the orange flower, we're actually just going to color in the rest of it with orange. Fill it in, fill it in, fill it in. Fill the whole thing in with orange. And then for the yellow, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to follow the bottom shape of the U, okay, with the orange. Thicken out that part. And then, see that right there? It's like a little triangle that sticks up there, and fill it in with orange. And then here, the triangle right here, fill that in with orange. And you can make your little tiny dashes or little hairs that kind of go upwards like that, right into the yellow, just like that. So that way, when I go back in with my yellow, look how it blends together. And we're using marker for these buds because the marker will pop pretty nicely against that blue watercolor. Now, for the purple, we're only using a purple marker. We're going to do that same thing where we outline the bottom of that purple tulip and make that a little bit thicker on the bottom. And then we have this little purple triangle here, right there, and then another purple triangle at the top section, and we fill that in. Okay. And then we're going to switch to watercolor to do the purple tulip. So switch to your watercolor and put some water inside the purple. There we have it. And we're going to paint each little petal with the purple watercolor. And notice that if I go over the purple marker with a little bit of that water, it's going to blend with the water. So that's pretty cool how the marker kind of transforms into paint when you put water on it. So go ahead and do all your tulip petals with purple watercolor. All right, we're almost there. Next thing we're going to do is all of the stems and all of the leaves. We're going to do that with green. So take your green and start from top left, and we're going to go from top left to bottom right. To make sure our hand doesn't get into our picture, keep your hand upright and off the painting so it doesn't smear it, and hold your paintbrush like it's a pencil, and that'll give you a lot more control to stay inside these lines. So I'm just taking the green watercolor paint and I'm trying to stay in between all these green outlines. And I'm just doing one leaf at a time and one stem at a time. So you're going to fill all that in. Notice that I'm dipping my paintbrush quite a bit from the water back to the paint and then to the paper. Make sure you keep dipping your brush. When you use watercolor, your paintbrush should always have water on it. It should never be dry. So keep on filling in all those green stems and all the leaves until you have no more white remaining on your paper. There should be no white on your artwork today. All right, the last step is to then peel off your masking tape, and look what happens. You get this great white frame. So post your stuff on Google Classroom. I'd love to see your artwork. Thanks, guys.